Holocaust Memories Never Forget. A Gentile baby boomer's painful journey into the Shoah. Section 6. Brutalste Gewalt. Brutal Violence. Part 14. From the 1st of January 1943 until the end of the war, May 1945. Here are more Holocaust-related events that took place in late 1943. When the Germans and local militia began liquidating the Vilna Ghetto, a partisan group led by Abba Kovner tried to stop them, but were driven back and escaped to the nearby forest. Working alongside Kovner was Wittke Kempner, one of the most famous Jewish partisans who rightfully earned herself the reputation of being a fierce fighter. After the war, they married and raised 2 children in Palestine, where he was a well-known poet and she became a clinical psychologist. Although Hungarian officials initially tried to protect their Jews, they finally allowed the Germans to use them as slave laborers at Bor, a copper mine in nearby Yugoslavia. When Vatican Secretary of State Luigi Maglione was asked why Pope Pius XII never condemned Hitler for his program of murdering Jews, he responded, "The Holy See would not want to be put into the position of having to utter a word of disapproval." On the 4th of October 1943, SS Director Heinrich Himmler gave a speech to 92 senior SS officers in Poznan, Poland, which was very clear concerning Hitler's plan to destroy the Eastern European Jewish community. So clear, in fact, that it was used as evidence in the Nuremberg war trials. A premature announcement by the Allies that Italy had declared war on Germany caused many Italian Jews to be trapped in German-held territory. For most of the war, Nice, France had been a refuge for Jews, but following the surrender of Italy, German troops entered the city and eventually transported around 5,000 Jews to various extermination camps. In Rome, at the same time that Germans were arresting Jews and sending them to their deaths at Auschwitz II-Birkenau, the Pope was again questioned through Cardinal Luigi Maglione why he didn't protest their actions. Once again, his response hardly offered the world a picture of the compassionate Christ he supposedly represented. These are the pontiff's words. The Holy See does all he can to avoid burdening relations with the German government and German agencies in Rome. Not surprisingly, another 1,000 Jews were rounded up in northern Italy and shipped off to Auschwitz on the 18th of October. The United Nations War Crimes Commission, also known as the UNWCC, was established. It's important to note that the UNWCC was one of several precursors to the current United Nations organization in New York City, the charter of which wasn't officially created until after the war. Father Bernard Lichtenberg was a Catholic priest at Berlin's St. Hedwig's Cathedral and spoke out boldly against the Nazis and their murderous policies. He was arrested in October 1941, but his request to be sent to the Vuch ghetto to spend his prison time comforting Jews was denied. Released in 1943, he refused to remain silent and was arrested again, this time ending up at a work camp at the age of 68. Orders eventually came down to ship him off to Dachau concentration camp, but due to ill health, he died during transport. A number of sites and buildings in Berlin have been named in honor of Father Bernard Lichtenberg. Not only was he beatified by Pope John Paul II in a ceremony at the Berlin Olympic Stadium in 1996, but Yad Vashem honored him as a righteous among the nations in 2004.